Good evening from the Mobtown Ballroom. Please wait while Michael mutes his laptop. All right, folks, we got a great show for you tonight. Without further ado, it's Mobtown Live.
I want to whisper in your ear and tell you that I'm here and take you to the dance and maybe find romance. But you can't, so it's Mobtown Live. I want to see the friends I miss and give my mom a kiss or get my hair cut right or just sleep through the night. But you can't, so it's Mobtown Live. Mobtown Live, we'll drink with you forever. Mobtown Live, in dark and stormy weather. Mobtown Live, what else is there to do? Well, I got my Zoom yoga jazzercise class and then walking around the block, stare at the ceiling, look out the window. But pandemic together. So grab your Wednesday best, at least the top, I guess. We'll take you to the moon. It's live to your bedroom. It's tonight, and it's Mobtown Live. Welcome everybody to the show. And boy, oh boy, do we have a great one for you tonight. Sarah told me to do that.
Oh, this is spooky. What's happening? Oh, gosh. Wow.
Welcome, everybody, to Mobtown Live.
Hi,
Welcome back. My name is Sarah.
I'm Michael.
We have an awesome show for you today that we're going to dive straight into. As usual, we've got Abby and Hachi behind the scenes, and that was the world premiere of the Mobtown Live theme song, written and performed by Abby Becker herself. So I hope you all liked it.
First, we have to make our quarantine cocktail
Oh, yeah.
before we get the show started. So, as things get darker and weirder in life, you may not have the mental bandwidth or the time to stir a drink and shake it and learn about bitters and things like that. So what we suggest is that you drink like a dock worker, and we can do a beer and a shot. And the trick there is you pour some of a shot. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Right? And then you take it.
To all of you watching,
And then you drink a beer.
I'm not going to do that, but you all should have fun with it. All right. We have our first guest in just a couple minutes, and the guest is Gayle Davis. Gayle is an incredible licensed clinical marriage and family therapist who has spent her career treating both individuals and couples. She's also my therapist. What's up? And I know that's oversharing, but she's awesome. Gayle retired from Goucher College, where she worked in the counseling center, and she has since retired to doing a part-time private practice, and she is taking new clients. But so today, Gayle is going to talk to us about various things surrounding mental health in quarantine and during a pandemic, and then we'll throw a couple questions her way towards the end. If you need any resources, please type them into the chat and I will try and respond. Gayle, are you there?
Actually, sorry, everyone, just 1 second. We are going to resume the stream 1 second.
I am.
1 second.
Hey Gayle, we're just having a little thing with our internet.
Okay.
But just hold tight. We're going to get back on live.
All right, here we are. I think we are good to
Okay,
go.
I'm hearing everything twice.
We're back on.
Are you watching on the YouTube, Gayle?
Let me fix that.
No.
Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. All right, we're ready to go. So, everybody, once again, Gayle Davis, Hachi can. Oh, there you are. Hi. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Gayle. Can you hear us all right?
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Cool. Well, I'm going to let you go, just let you be free while we work out the echo. And we'll mute ourselves so you can talk, and then in the end, we'll jump in and ask you some questions. So go for it whenever you're ready.
Okay. I was trying to think about what might. Oh, I'm getting an echo.
Are you not muted? She must have the YouTube open.
I don't.
No, but she can if you want to. Do you want to talk to her?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Bear with us 1 second. Gayle, do you have any other windows open?
No. Should I click out of this and come back on?
I think maybe you could start by
One of these windows.
muting. Maybe should she mute it, Hachi, while she's talking?
Yeah, she could. I mean, she probably has YouTube open because it's based on the delay.
I don't. I'll turn it off upstairs. Could that be it?
It might be worth, Gayle, just when you're talking, mute your own volume so that you don't hear yourself echo. We can't hear the echo.
Okay.
Unmute your voice. Hold on, sorry. Unmute your voice. And I was just saying mute your volume on your computer.
Okay. Okay, does that work? That's okay?
She can't.
Okay.
And we all have mics, so you just have to talk to her. Abby, are you talking to her?
She muted her computer.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I was trying to think about what might be helpful to talk about tonight, and it was really hard because I'm probably talking to a lot of people who are quite different from each other in lots of ways. And it occurred to me that even though we're living through the same events, we may be having very different experiences, both in terms of each other, but even within ourselves, from day to day or even moment to moment. So if some of the things I'm going to say are resonate for you, that's fine. And if they don't, that's fine too. One of the things we know is that the effects of isolation vary a lot from person to person. I talk to some people who say, well, I'm basically a homebody. Anyway, I'm kind of introverted, so this isn't that big a change for me, this quarantine. And then there are lots of other people who may be very extroverted. They're involved in lots of outside activities. And for those people, this whole experience is a real shock to their system and a change in lifestyle. So whatever your experience you're having is unique to you. Emotions can change from moment to moment. There isn't any right way to feel. What's important to remember, I think, is that it is okay to not be okay. Fear and anxiety and depression, those are very normal, expected reactions in a time like this. Also, anger, frustration, maybe sometimes you feel hope or whatever it is that you're feeling. Calls to government hotlines are actually up almost 900% from March 2019. So if you're really having a hard time with all this, you are not alone. I think this is a time to be very gentle with yourself and also to think about trying to find a balance between grief and gratitude. We're all experiencing an enormous number of losses right now that need to be grieved. Certainly, if you've lost somebody to this horrible disease, somebody you loved or somebody important to you, that's a very permanent, tangible loss that, of course, needs to be grieved. But there are lots of other kind of losses that most of us are experiencing. It might be the loss of a job and, of course, financial security, but also the daily contact with people, the sense of competency and positive feedback that hopefully you got from your job. There's a loss of routine and structure, relationships as they were, the close contact all the time. There's a loss of freedom and spontaneity. You can't come home at the end of the day and say, where do you feel like going for dinner tonight? Or let me think about what I want to do this weekend. There might be a loss of activities that you enjoyed or gave meaning to your life. So whatever losses you're experiencing are really important to acknowledge and to honor and to grieve. At the same time, it's also important to focus on gratitude for health, for the things in your life that haven't changed and aren't threatened. It's really a good time to focus on the relationships that are meaningful and nourishing to you and to work on fostering those. This might be a time that you could appreciate to declutter, either literally in your home or in your mind, to kind of let go of unimportant things, because now you have the space and the time to focus on what's really important to you. And to think about becoming who it is that you most want to be. How do you envision that person? And what might you do with the time that you have now to become more of that person? Maybe you might have time to get back to a project that you didn't finish or start one that you always wanted to. As I say those things, it's important not to think of them as shoulds. The last thing any of us need right now is to feel any worse about ourselves, but just as possible opportunities that you might feel some gratitude for. And the whole balance between grief and gratitude really came home to me last weekend. My husband and I took a ride out to a small town that we've been to many times and we really enjoy. And we like to sit on the bench and look at the water and walk on the boardwalk and go to this little restaurant that we really like there. And so we went on the weekend and it wasn't the same. My husband's in a really high risk group, so we have to be very careful. So we couldn't sit on the bench. We had to bring our own chairs and we had to wear masks, and we were very mindful of how close people were to us. And We could only walk on the boardwalk in one direction. You can't walk back and forth anymore. And of course, we couldn't go to the little restaurant that we like. And so those were all things that were losses. There just wasn't the same. But at the same time, the water was still there, and we could still look at the water, look at the boats, listen to the water kind of lapping on the shore, walk on the boardwalk in one direction. It was still a pretty ride out there. There were still the beautiful Victorian mansions on the main street. So I became very mindful of kind of having the grief and the gratitude at the same time. So I want to talk a little bit about self-care. I think there are 4 M's that are really important in self-care, plus a few more. But the first one is movement. I know you have heard this before, but exercise really does help. There are lots of online classes and things you can do if that works for you. But if it doesn't, it's not that or nothing. Maybe you're not up for the 45-minute workout that you used to do. But what about just 3 push-ups and 3 sit-ups and a really brisk 10 to 15-minute walk? That would really be helpful. The sunlight is really good for you. It helps readjust your melatonin levels, help you sleep. The exercise reduces the stress hormone. And just getting out in fresh air and changing your focus, looking at something different, can be really helpful. The next one is meaningful engagement, and that is on any level, including certainly very intense sharing, but also even just quick connections with people in stores or as you walk by someone on the street, to just give a little waves like, yeah, me too. It just helps lessen the sense of isolation. I think that's really important. You may know some older people who have had experiences and perspectives that might really help. Maybe people that have lived through the Depression or the deprivations of World War II, people that have some experience in living through a really difficult crisis time like this. The next one is mindfulness. Even 5 to 10 minutes of deep breathing every day can really help to just slow down, focus on your breath, and take those long, slow inhales and exhales. It's really impossible when you're focusing on your breath and breathing like that for your mind to keep going on its treadmill. You can't do both at the same time. So that can really help. You might think about maybe starting a meditation habit by stacking it on top of a habit that you're already doing. So maybe tack on even 1 minute of meditation after you have your first cup of coffee in the morning. That way you can start to build the habit and build on that. There are lots of apps for meditation, if that works for you, Daily Calm or Headspace or any progressive muscle relaxation. It really doesn't matter what kind you do. It's just taking the time every day to focus inward. And the last M is mastery. It's doing something that feels good, that you're good at, that helps you feel creative, that gives you a sense of flow or maybe nourishes your soul. I would suggest that you ignore negative social media and certainly limit your exposure to the news. Maybe checking in with the news in the morning and maybe before you go to bed. If something really important happens, you will hear about it. But having it on all day is not helpful. It's pretty depressing. Certainly getting enough sleep. I know that's hard these days. Lots of people have disrupted sleep, but focusing on trying to get enough sleep, nourishing food. I know comfort food is really appealing these days, but if you can at least balance it with nourishing food. Drinking lots of water. Dehydration really can affect you profoundly. It affects your energy level, your ability to concentrate. And by the time you know that you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So trying to remember to drink lots of water throughout the day, limit caffeine and alcohol. I know that's hard too, but if you're already anxious or depressed, that really makes things worse. Certainly taking any medication that's been prescribed. And if you're really feeling extremely anxious or depressed, you might consider talking to your doctor about some antidepressant or anti-anxiety medication that can be helpful. Sharing your feelings with people close to you, writing in a journal can really help. I think what's really important is to remember that we are in unprecedented times. We haven't lived through anything like this. And there's really no clear end in sight. We don't know how this is going to shift, what's going to happen when it does. Change is hard. It's hard in normal times. I mean, if it weren't, I wouldn't have a job. But particularly now, when so much change is required of us, I think what can be helpful is to remember other times in your life when you overcame what seemed at the time to be unbearable or insurmountable, something you're just never going to be able to cope with. Because the person that did that overcame that, that's still you. You can go inside and find that part of yourself and rely on that. There's one expression I like to get through this, and it is not, we're all in this together. If I hear that one more time. The expression is something I saw on a church wall, or as I was driving by, and it said, when you're going through hell, keep going. So, Sarah, do you have any questions for me?
I totally do. Did you unmute?
1 second.
Oh, she can't read.
Gayle, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Hi,
Good.
can you hear me?
And yeah.
Thank you, Gayle. There's still a little bit of a delay, so I'll try to hold back before I respond. But what can help you, I think, is if you press mute when you're talking so that you don't hear your own echo. Firstly, thank you so much.
Okay.
That was really good. My first question is, how can people get themselves to be productive when they don't feel like doing anything?
I think that's a struggle for a lot of people now. I think the first thing to do is to redefine success. Most of us are just not functioning at the same level that we were before. We're just not. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that we can't function at all. It just means we need to reduce the scope and reduce our expectations. I think it helps to have some kind of schedule and normality, but don't berate yourself if you don't stick to it. have a list of to-dos or goals, and, maybe you just get 1 out of 5 done, but you got 1 done. So, yay me. And it feels so good to cross that 1 off the list. And maybe you'll get more done tomorrow. I think what's important is to try for no 0 days, the days when you just don't get anything done. At the end of the day, you're just thinking, where did this day go? I haven't accomplished anything. Because those are days when you're likely to just not feel good about yourself. It's kind of like when you're depressed. The worst thing you can do when you're depressed is what you feel like doing, because you don't feel like doing anything, and then you feel worse. So I usually encourage people when they're depressed to not pay attention to what they feel like doing, but to kind of go into their head and think about, what do I know will help me to feel better, even though I don't feel like doing it? You might consider some kind of volunteering. It's a way to feel like you're contributing something, that you're helping somebody else. It may also give you some kind of schedule. But I think what's really important is to set small, attainable goals. I have a closet in my house, well, several, but one that is so messy that every time I would look in there, I'd think, this is undoable. It's overwhelming. I can't even think about it. And I'd shut the door. And since I had a lot more time lately, I decided that I was gonna work on cleaning out that closet 15 minutes a day. And that's it. 15 minutes. Whatever I sorted in those 15 minutes, that was great. And that was it for the day. And some days I really got into it and I went longer. And some days I'd be looking at my watch and it's like, it's only been 7 minutes. I can't stand it. But I hung in with it. And eventually I got the whole thing cleaned out. And now I have a huge pile of stuff ready to be donated. But it makes me feel good every time I go in there, because it's like, yes, I did this, but only 15 minutes a day.
That's really good advice. That makes a lot of sense.
There's
an echo. Michael, you have a question?
Yes, my question is, you provided us with some information should people need to seek help. At what point, as people are in this sort of unprecedented time, when do people make that call? Like, what should they be feeling when they should go, oh, I'm going to reach out to somebody? And who should they reach out to?
That's a really important question. I think it's when what you're experiencing is completely interfering in your daily life, when you're just not accomplishing, you're just not able to function at all. If you have a low mood that is insurmountable and unchanging, if you don't experience any joy in the things that used to be pleasurable for you, if you're not sleeping at all, I think most of us have disrupted sleep these days, but if you're just not able to sleep at all, if you have a severe change in appetite or eating patterns, certainly if you're having any suicidal thoughts, then that would be the time to call one of the numbers. I don't know if they're on the screen right now, or they will be. Feelings of profound hopelessness or despair, kind of a real inability to concentrate if you just, can't focus. Or just if you're feeling that you, for whatever reason, can't share what you're really feeling with the people close to you. That would be the time to seek a therapist, or if you're not able to do that, to call one of the numbers on the screen.
Thank you, Gayle. Do you have any advice for couples?
Yeah. People get together in partnerships or couples because they want to spend time together. But I think for most couples these days, this is way more togetherness than you signed up for, or that you're used to, or maybe that you're comfortable with. There used to be a joke when, in my mother's generation, when lots of women didn't work outside the home, their job was in the home. And so that's what they did. And they took care of things and they ran things and they were fine. And then husbands retired and all of a sudden there he was all day, every day, and maybe looking for somebody to manage. And the joke for the women was, I married him for better or worse, but not for lunch. I think being in close quarters and dealing with this crisis of unknown consequences may bring up behaviors or emotions in yourself or in your partner that you're not used to seeing. And that's okay. It's important to try to remember not to take things personally. Your partner's needs are your partner's needs. Their behavior says more about how they're feeling and not how they're feeling about you. Because right now, anxiety can really only go toward your partner. There's no other outlet for it. I think what can help is to make time, 10 or 15 minutes every day, to really check in with one another and connect. I know that you may be in very close proximity 24/7, but that doesn't mean that you're really connecting. I think the best way to do that is for one person to talk about how they're feeling, what they've been thinking about, what they're worried about, whatever is on your mind. And the other person to just listen, ask questions to help understand, but not try to solve anything or fix how the other person is feeling. Just listen. And then to switch roles and the other person to do the same. And that way both people get to talk and to listen. Can a daily routine together that also includes time alone or time apart, might be a time to try a new habit or activity together. I wouldn't be overly concerned about a lower sex drive right now. That's pretty normal in times like this. Most people don't have their normal energy level. There's not a chance to get a different kind of stimulation. It's important to talk about it and to ask your partner if there's something they could do that might help you feel more stimulated. I think what's really important is to be anchored in the future, to make plans together, plan a trip together, talk about things that you'll do together when you can, places that you'd like to go, new experiences that you'd like to have. I don't think this is a good time to make major decisions that don't have to be made right now. But all in all, I think it's just time to be extra patient and gentle with ourselves and with each other.
Thank you, Gayle. That gives me a number of things that I hadn't thought about.
That gives me a number of things.
Final question, and I'm not sure why Sarah gave this to me, except that maybe she was suggesting I need therapy. Are you taking any new clients? Are you taking any new clients?
I do have some room in my practice. So I'm doing telehealth therapy, obviously, on a secure platform. So you can email me. I think the email address is on the screen with what you're looking for and your phone number, and then we can talk and see if we're a good fit.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Gayle. I cannot say how important this was, and I think there are a lot of people who probably really needed to hear all this stuff. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for bearing with us through the technical difficulties as well. They happen every week. It's part of it.
And thanks for all your good work.
They happen every week. It's part of it. And thanks for all your good work.
My pleasure. Thanks.
All right. Bye, Gayle. Thank you.
All right, we're back. Oh, and the echo's gone.
Gayle's email on the screen had @ in the front of it, and I just wanted to make sure I'll post it in the chat if anyone needs it. But it's the same email, just without the A and the T at the very front.
And I hope the entire internet is willing to congratulate me on not making all of the jokes about Sarah having a therapist.
It was only because of the delay.
Yeah.
You would have done it otherwise, which would be fair.
So, next up.
Yeah, do it.
Next up, this is what's happening. I have been freaking out over the past couple of weeks. Nicole Munchell, the great Nicole Munchell, told me about the Baltimore Sun and how there's a movement to get the Sun paper bought by a nonprofit. I hate finance people and hedge funds and all that sort of thing, and I love the news, and I also love physical things. This is my own Baltimore Sun paper. So we took it upon ourselves to contact a Sun reporter, Scott Dance, environmental reporter for the Sun, and we're going to ask him some questions and sort of dig into this issue right here on Mobtown Live. Do we have it, Mabby? This is where you're getting the hard hitting.
Scott, are you there? Yeah. This is
was literally hanging up the phone with my editor. Sorry about that.
Hey!
Oh, no problem. Hi.
Thank you for coming on, Mr. Dance.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So let's just jump right in so we can get you out of here as fast as possible. Because of you, not because we want to get rid of you. Can you describe what you do at the Sun as a reporter?
Yeah, I'm the environment reporter, so usually I'm writing a lot about the Chesapeake Bay. Today I wrote about the crab annual crab survey, how many crabs are in the bay. But these days I'm writing a lot about COVID-19, of course. So that's what I was talking to my editor about.
So the main thing I think that we're getting at today is the Save Our Sun campaign. Could you explain what that's all about?
Yeah, so the Sun is owned by a newspaper chain called Tribune Publishing. It owns the Chicago Tribune, among many other papers around the country, and it's increasingly being kind of bought up by this hedge fund that right now can't buy any more stock through June 30th, but they own like a third of the company, and so we're pretty afraid they're about to buy a lot more because they're known for cutting pretty ruthlessly at newspapers. We already feel like we are, kind of cut to the bone. We're doing important work. People might have heard we just won a Pulitzer for the reporting that some of my colleagues did on Mayor Pugh. So, we're just really concerned about the long-term future. We've already seen, I've been there since 2012 and have just seen things really shrink by attrition. We're just very concerned about the future. So we'd like to see, we know there are some local foundations that are interested and have the funds to buy the Sun. So we're just making this push to get the Tribune Publishing Company to really engage with them because they have made some overtures, but the foundations in town here have made some overtures, but they're just really trying to, we're just really trying to get the company to, pay attention to this and really consider it.
And so the campaign is essentially, you're not asking people for money. It's a public pressure campaign to make sure that everybody knows that this sort of gelatinous vampire monster is trying to eat the newspaper.
Yeah, and like that's something that like some of the folks, the leaders of these foundations who are, people who have been, big civic players in Baltimore and in Maryland for forever, they're saying we think people don't know enough what's going on with the Sun. Like people might know vaguely like, oh, newspapers are struggling, advertising revenue is down. And yeah, that's true. But they just, yeah, we're like, people don't know what this hedge fund is. It's called Alden Capital. People don't know what's, they might not even be aware that the Sun is owned by an out-of-town company, and that, this idea of local ownership is something that's been talked about for a long time, and people have really been hoping for a long time, and has become reality in some other cities, and has helped, boost, like the Philadelphia Inquirer or the Salt Lake Tribune. These are these are papers that are nonprofits now and are trying to find a model that works, that can sustain them for the long term, that isn't so dependent on, the whims of Wall Street, because that's the situation that we're in right now. We're being treated as this cash cow when obviously, we're not a cash cow anymore, and we're in this important civic institution that needs to be preserved.
There's a number of smaller papers underneath the Sun's umbrella. In this buying situation that's being entertained, will those papers also be bought and survive, or is that going to get eradicated?
No, I mean, yeah, that's definitely the hope, is that they come along, because, I mean, they really are totally baked into the Sun now. I mean, we used to have these huge suburban bureaus in all the counties around Baltimore, and we just don't have that anymore. And so what we have instead is the Annapolis Capital and the Carroll County Times. And so, the Sun, the Sun wouldn't be what it is without them. So yeah, that's certainly part of it.
I am going slightly rogue here, and didn't
not following the sheet.
Run this by Michael, but to get to the next question that I have, I'm wondering if for people who perhaps have grown up with internet news, could you sort of explain like what the deal is with newspapers and how news evolved, and like why the ownership of people running the news is important and how that's changed recently?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, I mean, yeah, obviously the Baltimore Sun has been a newspaper since 1837, but, we're a website, we're on Twitter and Facebook and all that. But I would say even just in the time that I've been a reporter, I've seen so much change in terms of, just this web mindset versus print mindset. And it's like, we don't, there were days when I was a young reporter where it'd be like, oh, well, we got to hold this story for the paper, tomorrow. And like, is it going to hold overnight? We don't know. Like, we don't do that anymore. And so that has changed. And, it's just like, I mean, and especially with Twitter, it's like it's just a constant news cycle. And, we're just, everything's immediate. People are always asking me, when I reach out for an interview, like, well, what's your deadline? And it just drives me crazy now, because like deadlines are a thing that existed when there was a print paper that had to get printed at a certain time. And that just doesn't exist anymore. The deadline now is as soon as possible, because I'm going to post it on the internet as soon as I can. And I would say the ownership matters because, you're the owner, you make the rules and you decide how the money is spent. So right now we've got these owners who decide that they're going to pay a dividend to shareholders because, they think that's good for their stock price. People want to buy their stock. People are more likely to buy their stock if, they're going to get a steady dividend from it. And, we're like, well, that's not what a newspaper is for. Like, a newspaper is for informing the public and helping civic leaders make decisions and, bringing transparency to, public processes. And, the owners right now just like don't really seem to care about that. And they're not making that a priority, because if they were, they would be investing in the newsroom. They'd be investing in their product, as opposed to, just basically they're just trying to like squeeze whatever, they're trying to cut whatever costs they can to maximize profits and squeeze profits out of us for the benefit of Wall Street shareholders. And it just doesn't make sense.
Thank you. That's That's thorough. I think a lot of people that we've talked to at least struggle to understand why the sort of internet news, just sharing, basically headlines, is not adequate to the times. That sort of leads into my next question, which is, can you describe some of the journalism that the Sun has done recently that you think, would not be done without a real newsroom with real reporters?
Yeah, I mean, what we won the Pulitzer for was, it really started with what, my colleague Luke Braulbader would say is just like a really normal sort of story, like that, just the day in, day out coverage that we do, which was like about a bill that, a state senator had put in about, like, let's say that, people on the board of the University of Maryland medical system shouldn't be allowed to have contracts with the system anymore or something. And then, like, he looked into that and he's like, oh, well, like, why is that a thing? Oh, it's because some of the members do have lucrative business deals with the system. And one of those people happens to be Catherine Pugh. And, like, it just kind of snowballed from there. And it's like, that just wouldn't have come out if it wasn't for this, day in, day out, like, government sort of accountability reporting. And, it wasn't something, I mean, in some ways it sort of just fell into his lap, but it wasn't like somebody said, hey, Luke, the mayor is crooked. Like, that's just not how it started. You have to sort of peel away at these things, and it's just something that it is hard to understand from the outside, like, without the resources to tell these, like, little daily stories. Like, you can't ever get to that point where you see this bigger picture, or you come upon this scandal or whatever it is, and it takes a lot of what we call this shoe leather reporting, and just this like these daily, what we call daily stories, just like a little story about, like, here's what happened today. But then, like, in the process of doing that, you come across these bigger stories that have more impact.
So from that perspective, if you were trying to sort of, let's say, like a high school senior, someone you can, condescend to, you're trying to tell them how they should go about, like, sort of having a media diet, and as, like, a decent citizen of Baltimore City, how to stay informed without going insane, but also maybe not just clicking on random things on the internet. What would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, like, here in Baltimore, I'd say, obviously read the Sun, but, read, whatever they're, read the Brew, read, it's terrible that the city paper's not here anymore, but, read the Baltimore Beat when they have stuff. And I mean, that I won't say, like, don't watch the TV news, because they do good stuff, but, like, a lot of, like, what they're doing is driven by what we are writing. Yeah. And, like, I don't know. And I would just say, like, it's important to, like, have good skepticism, and, like, just read these stories and think critically about them, and just sort of follow what's going on as much as you can, and that helps you sort of get a better sense of what these little stories and news developments along the way mean.
How do you yourself, when you're on the internet, decipher whether or not what you're reading is, like, a primary source of news, or, like, something that's been regurgitated and eaten again and presented to the world as though it's new?
I mean, I guess for me, it's more just like I'm reading the sources that are the well-known primary sources that are, the Washington Post or the New York Times or whatever. But I mean, the Post, everybody does some aggregation. So I guess I would say, you're looking at, who, like, at the end of, every paragraph or every other paragraph, you're going to see, what we call attribution. And if it's, like, according to some other outlet, you just have to think, like, okay, well, why are they citing this other outlet as opposed to, going straight to whoever the source of this news might be? And like the whole stuff about, like, anonymous sources and, the president saying that's fake news or whatever. Like, I mean, some of that is valid. Like, when you do see an anonymous source, not that it's fake news, but, like, it's valid that you should be, you should have a healthy skepticism of, like, well, who might this person be and why aren't they named? And if it's something really important, like, you would think someone would go on the record and say it. But if there is a valid reason, like, oh, well, they spoke on condition of anonymity because otherwise they'd get fired, like, well, that's understandable. Like, no one's going to speak out and throw their job away unless it's something, crazy, I guess. But so yeah, you just have to kind of read critically like that, I would say.
That makes sense.
So in terms of this effort to purchase the Sun, I believe that yesterday was a deadline where the signatures were submitted.
Yes.
Is it still worthwhile for people to sign the petition?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure what I should know, but I'm not sure what happens with it next. But yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely not. There are definitely more things that we're going to do and more steps that we're going to take to push this along as much as we can. The shareholder meeting. There's not, there are some, I guess, decisions that are going to be made on, like, there's like an election on the board members and we're trying to, get them to not let this hedge fund basically take over the board. But, our petition doesn't have anything directly to do with that. So it's like, this is really just like kind of a first step. We wanted to get our word out as much as possible. But, you can also just go to our website and, on the homepage, like, sort of just sign up, like, put your email in there, and then you'll get updates for, whatever is next. So, we definitely still want people to do that as well. So whether you sign that or the petition, I think either way, like, we can keep you posted on what's next and what we do need of people. Because, yeah, you said at the beginning, like, we're not looking for money right now, but, like, we've talked about, do we want to get people to, like, pledge to subscribe or pledge to donate to a nonprofit or something like that in some way, not actually take people's money, but get them to sort of pledge their money to show to the company or to whoever, like, there are people in this community who support us and who are gonna, put their money where their mouth is there.
That makes sense. This might be hard to answer, but if there was one thing that people in Baltimore could do, in your opinion, to sort of make sure that we still have access to legitimate news that's, written with integrity and researched with integrity and has the public's best interests in mind, what would that one thing be?
I would definitely say, pay for local news. As much as I don't want to send money to this hedge fund or whatever, and hopefully eventually this money won't be going to this hedge fund, but whether it's us or, the Brew or the Beat, they take donations. Obviously we're, it's a subscription model for us, but either way, it's it really does take money and resources to do this work. And, people, it's easy. Yeah. You see headlines and you get stuff on Facebook for free, but the real quality news, that is behind that, it takes money to make. So please be willing to pay for good quality local news.
I feel good about it. We're gonna yell at everybody as much as we can to support this thing and stay in touch with it.
He's been yelling about it for years, so.
Yeah, I'm like a crazy old man yelling at pigeons. But thank you so much for coming on and talking to us, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again sometime.
Yeah, thanks so much. Anytime.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Take care.
That was awesome.
The people, I do want to say one more thing.
Go
I want
for
to
it.
make him listen to it. I have been sitting down in the morning with my actual newspaper, and one of the great virtues of a print subscription is that you're not going through random things going like, oh, I want to see that. You got to see everything, or at least sort of skim it. And you see things like obituaries, and you find out about wonderful people who did great things who are now dead. So that's nice. And then you see it. It actually gives you a sense of the texture of the life of the city you live in, as opposed to a general sense that public life and politics is all DC and Donald Trump. So I commend it to you. One more thing I want to say is that somebody on the live stream commented, "What's funny about having a therapist?" I believe referring to me, saying I wanted to talk to Sarah's therapist. Nothing's funny about it. I got one. I love them.
Oh yeah, and we have a whole ongoing conversation with Gayle that she's not a part of. that we both are aware of the whole thing.
Mental health is legit.
It's true. And so is reading the newspaper. I also have a print subscription. Shout out to my roommate Maura, who got me one, to the New York Times. It's so much better. You know, you can turn off your phone, you can put your thing away. You read. It's good.
Internet is a joke. I know we're on it. It's not a replacement. When this whole thing is over, go back to the analog.
Boo.
Also,
internet.
shout out WYPR.
Yes, WYPR.
Yeah. What's up next, Sarah?
All right. Well, we are running ahead of schedule for the first time in
2
history
minutes.
ever. No, we're running 7 minutes ahead of schedule.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I had more questions for Scott, but it's cool. I'm just kidding. All right. Is there any chance that we have our top comments ready? All right. I think we should go through our top comments from last week.
Why don't I just pull them up?
As most of you know, we like to highlight the best comments from the week before because it's hilarious. And the exact kind of fodder that we like to fill in the rest of our show with to give you a dose of, like, you know, the Mobtown vibe.
Mm-hmm.
As the person who randomly screen caps the comments, I wouldn't call them the best. I would just call them some comments.
Some comments from last week.
You
All
hear
right.
that? Do
Yeah.
better, audience.
Here's something.
Yeah, well, you should all start posting comments that are cool so that we can put them on next week.
Yeah.
What follows is content.
Or they're just going to be yelling at Michael about his comments on therapy. Those will work too.
Oh,
so.
I wasn't.
That's a great
The
idea.
internet was about to get me. Michael and his gotcha Shakespeare journalism. That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. That was because you asked Bill Henry about Shakespeare, right? And
Yeah,
if
he wasn't
had,
prepared.
Yeah, that's good. Gotcha. Okay. Sarah, when you transition from one bit to another, can you call it a Michael segue? This was really great,
You spelled segue wrong.
Sapinar, but you spelled segue wrong. I think it's pretty good, though. I like it anyway. But clever, for those of you who don't understand the joke, Michael's last name, it's Seguin, but for a long time people called him Michael Seguin. So it was often confused or conflated with sequence or Segway,
As Penguin
which
for a
is his
while?
favorite vehicle. Segway.
Next.
I keep telling people Mobtown is my new place of worship, and I only realized today that I have weekly telechurch with the rest of the denominations.
We actually are on this show. Congratulations, everyone, proving that there is a God and that he hates me because I grew up in the church. My father's a pastor. I've been trying to escape from that kind of shit my entire life. And what happens? Here I am in a literal church talking to you, people who think that this is like a church.
I don't understand this comment, but people seem to like it. So
Yeah.
You're a heathen, Hachi.
If it rhymes, it must be true. Does not rhyme. Theron, you're destined to be a dad. Someone said, if it rhymes, it must be true. And Theron thought, that doesn't rhyme, so it's probably not true. I don't think logically that clears, but it was a funny thing to say, Dad.
we should probably get Scott back to answer that one too.
Yeah.
Next.
Landis for mayor.
I think I
agree.
would vote for Landis for
totally.
pretty much any office.
0 cats in the way from there on out. They would all be out of the way.
That's his platform. Cat's out of the way.
No, not a dig, for real. Huh. This was when Riley, we thought he might be being snarky. He was being genuine. If I had said what he had said, it wouldn't have been genuine, but he was very nice and genuine. Also, happy birthday, Riley. It's your birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And we made it through.
That's the beginning, so we're good. I would say, Abby, do you know if Randi is ready? Either way, I'm going to give the background on Randi. So we're so lucky tonight. I'm really excited for this. It also fits with the vibe, I think. Randi Withani is an independent singer-songwriter born and raised in Baltimore. She has musical training from Morgan State University and also the Peabody Conservatory.
Conservative.
She coins her sound as acoustic soul. or Afro folk. And it's simplistic yet poignant, pairing with melody and lyric that draws in all who choose to lean into the vivid storytelling experiences. So Randi has this really awesome, chill vibe, and is amazing. So are we ready, Abby?
I'm ready.
We're just going to check. Randi, can you hear us?
Can you guys hear? I can hear y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Hey!
Yay! Yeah, give us 1 second. For those of you watching at home, I know that it seems like, every week they have some technological thing. Maybe
It seems that way because it's true.
Maybe there is like a reason for this. Well, the real reason is that we at the Mobtown Ballroom don't know how to use the internet. Hachi knows lots about the internet, but has been taking all of the random trash that we have around the ballroom and building a technological thing that can make this happen each week.
It's an internet Frankenstein monster. It's the stuff of my nightmares.
But each week we buy something new to help him, and he has no opportunity to try it out until we're literally live. So our technological advances are happening. They're just happening without Hachi getting any of the opportunity to practice.
And it's very fun for us because we have these bright lights in our faces, and I can't see, but I can just hear Hachi swearing up in the sound booth and then stumbling his way out.
And
It's
then I look
incredible.
and he's flailing, but I couldn't see because I didn't wear my visor.
Yeah.
And point is,
No, this one was new. We got Zoom bombed. There was a man in a bed without a shirt.
oh God.
3 people in the
Zoom-
same bed or separate
Zoom bombing.
beds?
Look it up, everybody. It's a real thing.
All right, well,
apparently.
we're ready. We're ready to go.
I'm ready.
Here's your
Can you guys
guest.
hear me?
Hi, Randi.
Hi, Randi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Well,
You're very well lit. Good job.
yeah. How did
Oh,
you do
thank
that?
you. I have this lamp here. So
Production
yeah.
value.
I interviewed children this week on Zoom, and I worked really hard to make my face look lit up. And I had like 7 lamps, and was like, and you just have 1 lamp up, and you look like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. And you're using your phone, and you're going to sound amazing. So cool. Well, without further ado, go for it.
Thank you. This first one is called Sweet Melody. It's by Rachel Winder and Dominique Jenkins. They gave me permission to sing this song. So, yeah. Can y'all hear me well?
We can. Just make sure that original sound's on, too.
Yep, original sounds on. Such a beautiful thing to be loved. Such a beautiful thing to be loved. You're so beautiful, I've been calling your name. I know I don't know you very well, but I thought I might get you today. What do you say? You're so beautiful, I've been calling your name. I know I don't know you very well, but I thought I might get you today. What do you say? I'll sing you a sweet melody in a dream. Somewhere we can be alone. Oh, I'll sing you a sweet melody in a dream. Somewhere we can be alone. Oh, you're so beautiful, I've been calling your name. I know I don't know you very well, but I thought I might get you today. What do you say? Yeah, you're so beautiful, I've been calling your name. I know I don't know you very well, but I thought I might get you today. What do you say? Yeah. Oh, 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 Thank you. That's the first one. This next one is actually pretty new, so it's hot off the press. It's called 10,001. And it goes into a song called Gasoline Dreams that I wrote because I was trying to work through something. I thought I was over the thing, but I wasn't over the thing because I was having dreams about, like, setting people ablaze. So I wrote a song about it too, coke. But this first one is 10,001. And it goes into Gasoline Dreams. Can you guys hear me well? Yeah? Okay.
Yes, you sound great. We're loving it.
Thank you. That's so weird. What is this song? Okay. Woke up, no hue, 4 in the morning. Walk down the hall, I seen you on my phone. All alone in the dark, telling me I'm gonna break your heart. Babe, what's the use? I got no clue. What did I do? You need to say something before I walk out. What is this about? Baby, you're asking 10,001 questions, and I don't think I can keep up with what's happening. All this drama got me wondering what's worth it. Can't have no love if we ain't got trust. Lately it seems like you take all my words and zoom in with a lens so you can cross-examine. I know you've been hurt, tell me, baby, who hasn't? I need to know you believe in us. You know what your problem is, that you never had someone this good. Someone is good, yeah. So used to being mistreated that you never loved on yourself like you should. Like you should, babe. Yeah. Let me lay all your worries to rest. Hold you close, no room for doubt. For you I only want the best. Promise you can let your guard down. Baby, you're asking 10,001 questions, and I don't think I can keep up with what's happening. All this drama got me wondering what's worth it. Can't have no love if we ain't got trust. Lately it seems like you take all my words and zoom in with the lens so you can cross-examine. I know you've been hurt, tell me, baby, who hasn't? I need to know you believe in us. I need to know you believe in love. I need to know. Is it a protection, or are you just protecting yourself? Baby, tell me something before you end up by yourself? Is it a protection, or are you just protecting yourself? Baby, tell me something before you end up by yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Watched you from the car behind, told myself to just stay quiet. You walked by me side by side, had that look in both your eyes, preoccupied. Saw you pull their face near yours. We'd just spoken right before. That's when I began to fall. Don't recall opening my door or walking to yours. Sit right there, don't touch your seatbelt, don't bother screaming, no one's coming to help, it's just me, you, these matches and a gallon of gasoline. The daytime it ain't so bad, but nighttime gets ugly. Guilty conscience, but you're calling fuzzy. Don't know what you started. I'm falling apart and I can't even control myself or my thoughts or my dreams. Not as nice as I seem. Why do you make me so mean? So mean. Obsessing my mind, can't stop thinking, yeah. Trying to push you out, just push me to drinking. Anything to stay numb while you're here. 'Cause it's my true response I feel. Hold your hands, let them melt around each other, so you two can hold on forever and ever and ever and ever, yeah, yeah. Too little, too late to learn. For that you both can burn. Sit right there, don't touch your seatbelt, don't bother screaming, no one's coming to help, it's just me, you, these matches and a gallon of gasoline. The daytime it ain't so bad, but nighttime gets ugly. Guilty conscience, but you're calling it fuzzy. Don't know what you started, I'm falling apart and I can't even control myself or my thoughts or my dreams. If you ever plan on transgressing, Let this be your first and final lesson. Burn, burn, burn. If you ever plan on transgressing, let this be your first and final lesson. Burn, 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 burn. Burn, 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 burn. All right, that's the end of that one. Let me see. How much time do I have? Let me see.
I would say that how much more do you want to play?
I have 2 more songs.
Go for it.
Was that Venmo chinging during your song on your phone?
That was I'm actually about to, let me actually just mute it. That was the group chat. I thought I muted it all.
We enjoyed it. It made me feel really proud of our audience.
Honestly, it's like the group chat. No, because the group chat is telling me that like the Zoom link is like locked or whatever. Because like I have some people trying to get in, I guess.
Yeah, there were people Zoom bombing us or whatever that means.
Yeah, we're a big deal.
Randy, if people want to watch you, they can Google Mobtown. They can Google, look up Mobtown Live on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have to look up Mobtown Live on YouTube.
See, we're live on the internet. We are online on the
thing.
YouTube.
But this Zoom chat is just for us.
But I thought so. Ouch.
You sound beautiful, so thank you.
Yeah, we haven't quite worked out all the kinks in getting a good like green room. You know, we want to give everyone backstage passes, but not yet. We can't recreate everything on the internet.
Feels ya. This one is called River. This is about just basically like karma, like balancing itself out. Oh wait, hold on. Can I send a text first to update people what's going on?
Yeah, get them in here. No problem.
I think they're still trying to get. Pardon me. You can enjoy my pause face for right now.
Oh my gosh, it's totally tripping out. I don't even know how to do stuff like that.
Okay, so let me see.
Yeah, Venmo us so we can afford After Effects, and then Venmo us a tutor so we learn how it works.
Literally, Google Mobtown Live YouTube to tune in.
Randy,
Boom.
what I'll do is Abby will send you the link in the chat on. Is that a possibility, Abby? Okay. She will send you the link to the live stream, and then you can send it to people.
That's awesome. That would be fantastic. So sorry. My bad. Alright, I just told like the group of people in my like chat thing to just Google like Mobtown Live YouTube, so like they can just hop on in there. Alright. Oof. Here we go. Oh wait. Did I? Okay. But yes, this is River. This is about basically like things just balancing themselves out and like karma figuring itself out and you not really having to step in. It's from the viewpoint of the prey to the predator, just kind of like everybody didn't see what you did, but like the universe sees what you did and it's gonna just balance itself out. So, yeah. Ooh, 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 ooh. I paddled up my soul down the river, down the river of my soul, you came to eat my bones down the river of my soul, come to the edge, you're there picking your teeth. Are you full? How did it taste? Below an oak you sat and had your feast. Did you at least say your grace? I bottled up my soul down the river of my soul, you came to eat my bones down the river of my soul, I bottled up my soul down the river of my soul, you came to eat my bones down the river of my soul, Your teeth just sharp enough to scrape my marrow off from under your nails. Pieces of my flesh still in your face. One day the waves will rise, the gate will flood, the air subside down my grave into mud. They'll see my skull and the blood on your hands. Blood on your hands, hands, hands. Blood on your hands. They'll see the blood on your hands, hands, hands. Blood on your hands. They'll see the blood on your hands, hands, hands. Blood on your hands. They'll see the blood on your hands, 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 hands. Oh, I bottled up my soul down the river of my soul, you came to eat my bones down the river of my soul, I bottled up my soul down the river of my soul, you came to eat my bones down the river of my soul, they'll see the blood on your hands, hands, hands. They'll see the blood on your hands, hands, hands. Blood on your hands. You still got blood on your hands, hands, hands. Blood on your hands. You still got blood on your hands, 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 hands. Yeah. So let me see. I think I have one more.
Yeah, you do. That was really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone send Randy your money.
Heck yeah, please do. We love that. We got bills, nonetheless. This is my last song. This is called June. Shout out to Winston if he's tuning in right now, because Winston actually sent me an a cappella version, of this, vocal arrangement. It was beautiful. I was crying on the back porch. But, yeah, this is about when you date your best friend and it's trash.
When you what?
You date your best friend and it ends up being trash.
I didn't realize it was still on.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, this is the last one. What did I do? I made a mistake. Didn't intend for your heart to break. But I wasn't feeling like I could take it anymore. Maybe this time around we need more than just a break. So many times that I had to give pieces of myself for you, give you the space that you needed. Now I fear I'm running out of room. I'm aching, bent over backwards, trying to find all the right words. Said that we could last forever when we couldn't even make it to the end of June. What you fail to realize is that your mind's eye is only capable of that individual perspective. Yeah, the one inside, steady misinterpreting my heart for criticism, exalted by your overcompensating narcissism. But boy, I know your mental is just cause I spent all this time in your mind trying to understand your thinking, yeah. Times that I had to give pieces of myself for you, give you the space that you needed. Now I feel I'm running out of room. I'm making bent over backwards, trying to find all the right words, so that we could last forever when we couldn't even make it to the end of June. And now I can't look you in the eye, trying to apologize, and I ain't even got nothing to say sorry for. You got this gift for twisting things all around. Well, I'ma be the villain for real now. Promise you won't have to deal with me no more. Said that I love you, hold you, be there for you till you used me up. Yeah, you ignored me, scored me, and meanwhile I'm pouring from this cold, cracked cup. If you really loved me, you'd see it's really easy to communicate. But here you are crying, trying to pull on my heartstrings, but baby, it's too late. Said there's not enough room for me and you in here. So many times that I had to give pieces of myself for you, give you the space that you needed. Now I fear I'm running out of room. I'm aching, bent over backwards, trying to find all the right words. Said that we could last forever when we couldn't even make it to the end of June. 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 You're not a bad person, just need a little time. With so much love, but no more of mine. You're not a bad person, need a little time. With so much love, but no more of mine. my set.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Randy. That was beautiful.
That was lovely and so specific. What a
That's
specific title.
Very specific, very specific. Always.
I really liked
Yeah.
that. That was beautiful. Under normal circumstances, where would people be able to find you, either live or online or what?
Online, you can find me at SoundCloud. On SoundCloud, Randy Withani Roberts. It's Withani. It doesn't say Withani. It says Withani. But yeah, that's where my stuff is right now. I'm gonna be releasing a full project probably towards the end of the summer. It's been kind of difficult to record and finish studio time and stuff with Miss Rona, but yeah. It should be coming up by the end of the summer, hopefully July or August.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Wonderful.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I hope that you throw Randy some money. Her Venmo is in the chat, and all of her information is up on the screen. So thank you so much again, Randy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
guys. It was fun being a part of it.
All right, so please throw Randy some money. This whole situation works because we're able to pay the artists who come on here.
You're able to pay them.
Yeah, we as a community. Yeah. Also, in case you're wondering, at the bottom of your screen, it says at Mobtown-live, which is the Venmo address for us here. That is primarily, or I guess right now exclusively, used for getting us more equipment. The equipment, I would say, is partially responsible for the hiccups that you're seeing in the technological stuff that's going on here. That said, as soon as we have patched in all of the new technology, we will be clear. So, no, we'll be clear. I'm promising it.
That's a commitment on Hachi's behalf from Sarah.
Yeah, you heard it here.
Yeah, I'm just making promises that I don't know if I can keep. I would say also there are a couple updates and changes that are going to happen in the future, and they're due to those technological things that I don't understand. And I really appreciate you all bearing with us through all of this, especially since we've been making leaps and bounds in terms of what we're able to do, even though you can't necessarily see it. We're gearing up for some shit. So maybe you want to free your Sunday evening around 10 p.m.
Monday's a holiday. You got nothing to do. Don't have to get up early.
Even those of you who are working don't have anything to do on Sunday night, I think. So get ready.
Be there.
It is time for our final segment, which is Hachi not quite doing the segment that we're going to gear up to, but basically Hachi's going to show us some bits of the internet. This is the chill part, so you should get your drink. I'm going to get mine.
You're just adding more alcohol to your existing
Hachi is
drink.
going to explain some internet things to us, and we're going to basically test this out as a potential vibe for the future.
Yes, as the internet knows, I'm from the internet. I was born of you. It's already going really well. All right, so just we'll throw this up. Let me know how you feel about it. How does this make you feel?
That makes me feel like somebody is trying to, doesn't feel like they're getting enough attention in life. And so hey, want to know something about me? I like Old Bay. That's what it feels like to me. It feels masturbatory, if I'm being honest.
I have a question for you, Michael, which is, have you ever seen this cartoon before?
Have I seen that
Yes.
meme thing?
I don't think that's an unfair question.
I'm not. I'm pretty certain I've seen it. I would have no idea why anyone created that or why it became popular or what those people aren't doing in their daily lives that led to that.
My favorite part of this is that whoever made this, which I assume was Hachi, decided not to put the "is the" in the text block and just make one uniform text block, but instead
Yes.
have "is the"
You've
and
pointed
then
out
the text block.
one of the nuances of the internet. And it would be much harder also to just find the screen capture with nothing on it. And some may call it more boring.
True. It's a little less meta, and it's like less history from our ancestors,
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's kind of a bad meme because it only has 2 fonts in it. Really, once it gets up to 3 fonts is when that's on the way to being deep fried.
I can't tell if he's joking or what the fuck he's talking about.
Michael, no, that's like I mean, there are webinars and stuff on this, like about how many fonts to use.
What
in a
the
meme.
fuck is a webinar?
I emailed you about a webinar 2 days ago.
Oh,
Yesterday, I sat in on the
mailed
webinar. I
him
took notes.
about the webinar.
I feel like this should devolve every week into my family's Zoom meeting where there's 25 people all talking about the 5 who didn't show up but over each other. So there's no chance it's going to be heard by anyone because we're all talking at the same time.
Did you say ovaries?
I think we've really mined this meme for
Yeah,
all that it
okay.
had to offer.
Hachi, do you want to tell us about this meme or no?
Oh, yes. Let's go back. So
You can also just leave it at that if you want.
I was going to move away from it before Michael started saying declarations about hating Old Bay, which I'm pretty sure he's loading right now. But yeah, so I looked it up. It has nothing to do with Sailor Moon, which makes a lot of sense because that does not look like Tuxedo Mask. So yeah, dodge that bullet. Yeah, it's some anime that I looked up and promptly forgot from 1990. So good story, Hachi. What do we have next? Oh, well, we've got this one that I also found online today. And honestly, I was really gung-ho about doing this segment, and then I realized that the internet people have been juiced. They have been fully juiced. The memes are bad. The memes are bad, and we should feel bad.
Not the Bill Henry memes.
The Bill Henry memes were good. You know, they gave us back a little bit, but the internet at large, they've had a rough life.
Can I ask a random question about the internet?
Sure.
So my favorite internet video is the Leroy Jenkins video.
Leroy Jenkins.
Is there any context to that, or is it just awesome because he screams his own name and runs it?
Okay, so you're just to be clear, your favorite internet video is literally the first internet video that was ever made.
Yeah, but I saw it about 5 years after it happened.
Cool. Well, I did play WoW since I'm from the internet. You know, you have to. It's one of the steps. So back in the day in World of Warcraft, there used to be 40-person dungeons. So you would literally get online with 40 people and go into these dungeons that were just, you know how have you heard this? Like all the video games of our parents' generation were like much harder and were too soft to beat them. Like who's actually beaten Mario, or before that, like have you ever played Metroid, or like what's that game that's really hard? Like not Jurassic Park. There's some other Chap, help me out.
No.
What's that game?
Turok's my favorite video game.
Incredibly hard to play. Turok's cool. I didn't get that into Turok.
It's an N64
Anyway,
game.
so yeah, it's a 40-person dungeon. It wasn't Molten Core. It was some other dungeon. And this guy he's had a long day. He hasn't had dinner. He's really tired of the dungeon master's shit. He just wants to get in there. He just screams his name, as you do, and he runs in, and he gets all the threat. He pulls all of the little flappy things. Don't remember what they're called, and he wipes the entire run, all 40 people. And when you die in World of Warcraft, you don't just like come back. You got to run for like 5 minutes back to your dead body.
That was a really good explanation for people who understand the internet. Can I give my interpretation?
Please.
There's a bunch of weirdos.
Back.
You're watching a screen with some like creatures on it. And it becomes clear that each creature has a voice of a real human who's probably sitting at their computer.
And those real humans definitely have cell phone holsters. Just 100%.
Definitely. Or pagers, I don't know. And they're all taking this very seriously. I mean, they're going like, okay, I guess this is, and talking all the technicalities. And then one dude gets sick of it, but you don't know the dude. You just see his weird creation character. And
they're called
he
avatars.
suddenly screams,
but yes, you're doing
Leroy
well.
Jenkins! And he just runs in while the rest of them were trying to make their plans or whatever.
Talking about percentages and doing math and other nerd shit.
And then everyone else is like, oh my God, oh no. You would think that like it was a real spy mission. And then they all run in there and they all die.
Oh, that brings me to the thrilling conclusion. Yes, I mentioned the dinner, and I'm sure the audience was wondering why I mentioned his lack of having dinner. At the end, now that everyone is dead, he is able to go get his chicken because
He talks about his chicken. He was
yes.
also very stoned, as far as I could tell from what I was listening to.
So you can keep your weed in your cell phone holster. Yes.
All right, next thing.
I would play the video for you all, but one hand has the microphone, the other hand has my beer, and the third hand is watching my computer, which has been at 100% CPU utilization for the last 2 hours.
So we won't
send us
show the
money.
video. Just look it up. Just Google Leroy Jenkins.
It's great. Yeah, Sarah really oversold it, possibly.
I don't think so. I don't think there is such a thing. I watched it again last week. It's much longer than I originally remembered it being.
She probably just watched a whole playthrough
Worth it.
of the dungeon.
Worth it. All right.
Okay.
Next thing.
Here,
Hachi.
next meme.
Truth about introverts. This quarantine is not our dream come true. We have people in our house who never leave.
Is that person holding ranch dressing?
Yes. See, and again, I'm an old internet person now, and this thing is from the Comedy Centrals or the Adult Swims, and I'm not really sure what happens in it because I've only seen like 6 clips. So it does appear, yes, that he is drinking ranch dressing, or at least emoting with ranch dressing, probably to be drinking afterwards.
So this, I feel like, represents how I felt the first week of quarantine. Because everyone was like, oh my God, I'm an extrovert. Please check on your extrovert friends, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, are you kidding me? I live with 5 other people.
All those phrases that people keep, the internet is like reducing the number of phrases. Like everyone says the exact same sentence
Language
over
should
and over again.
constantly evolve.
What?
My question is, why is there a dildo at the top of the meme?
That's fair.
that
There's
looks
a very
very much-
yellow penis.
Yeah.
They are.
And it's splitting. It's got like shin splints of the penis.
There's this really interesting rule on Reddit. It's
You're welcome, Mom.
It's so you're not allowed to post people's personal information, but most of the subreddits don't give a shit if you post like pictures with
What's
their
a Reddit?
information in it. What's a Reddit? All
I'm
right, we'll
just
do that
kidding.
next
No,
week.
I'm kidding. Keep
So
going.
this one, for some reason, they blocked it out for some reason, which is honestly worse because then the person that they stole it from doesn't get the credit. So, Reddit 101. Well, I mean,
How are 42
viral
people still
internet
watching?
101.
We've actually gained some.
I think they-
We had a question, Hachi. Which
Oh, yes,
Was,
yes.
When was the Badger video?
Badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom.
I don't actually know what this is.
Snake, oh snake. I unplugged the other audio cable, and I wish I didn't because I would play that video. That video is probably older than Leroy Jenkins. It might be. That was on, like albino black sheep and steak and chicken.
Oh, totally, yeah. I have no idea what any of that means. But people are liking this, Hachi, so
They
good
do.
job.
I have it right next to the screen to reassure myself when I just start babbling. I'm not really trailing off. I'm just looking at my reassuring
What's the
screen.
next thing?
What's the next thing? Well, I didn't queue it up because I got really into this. So
Oh, that's fine. I wanted
let's
to ask
see
you a
if it
question, which
works.
was, do you remember some kind of video where they're singing like, Duke, Duke, and this might get me in trouble now that I think about it.
I think you,
India is a global force in the market
said that everybody
now.
was a nutcase, and you just
I
did
just started imitating a different language. But
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, it's the
that's
Tunic.
fair.
It's the Tunic Tanuke song. Everyone knows the
Do
Tunic
you?
Tanuke song.
Do you know
yeah.
it?
Tunic Tanuke, Tunic Tanuke, Tunic Tanuke, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the dude's like,
Everyone,
Something
look at
profoundly
Michael's.
racist
Look at
happening right
that.
now? I can't tell.
I can't quote one fucking line from Romeo and Juliet that's not out of Hamlet, but I can sing that song phonetically.
okay, sorry. So your next thing.
Yeah, let's see if it works. It wouldn't load the first time I did it, so I did it this stupid way. I saw this and it made me laugh.
Well, so that's not so much a meme, or it's just like the great tradition of America's Funniest Home Video, which was pre-internet. Thank you.
Oh, we should do an America's Funniest Home Video segment. Also, the problem is that
Also,
when I
fuck
watch
those
that,
people.
I think that's a really good idea. That's the difference between.
I mean, it's a great idea.
I would really like to put a hot tub in the back
And
of
I'm
the truck
like, fuck those people.
and drive around.
Deborah never watches this show. We can pretty much do whatever the fuck we want with her truck.
That's fair.
Yeah. And actually, Rachel, can we put the hot tub in Deborah's truck? She'll say yes. That's fine.
Someone in the comments.
Oh.
Rachel.
Yeah. So
We addressed her. Or
Are we allowed to do that?
we're on the internet looking at the internet. Everything is just a mess.
Michael must really like that.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
an extra layer of internet.
This was actually his long-term plan to move on to the internet, but be the cool one because he's like new to it, you know. He hasn't been reading anything but the internet for 2 months. All right, next
No,
thing,
but
Hachi.
it's rough out there. It's rough out there. There's not a lot of great memes. I go on Reddit and I'm only on it for like 15 minutes and I turn it off and then I go back to endlessly scrolling the Google search app.
Hachi,
which
can I
is
ask you a question?
What my life has become, just looking at the Google topics. It's not great. It's not.
Can you justify Reddit to me, or explain to me why it isn't just like masturbating gunmen or something? That's my impression of it.
Well, Michael, every
should call
internet
Deborah.
community has its good people and its bad people. And 7 years ago, they all moved to Reddit. I mean, they haven't arrested the wrong person from a domestic terrorist event in like 5 years. So there's that.
Meaning Reddit has aided the...
Well, they try to help,
Yeah.
but no, I don't know. Reddit's fine.
That's a good positive. I know Gayle was talking about sort of finding your balance between, I forget what the first thing was, but the bad stuff and gratitude and grief and gratitude. And I feel like looking at Reddit and thinking, well, they haven't arrested the wrong person for domestic terrorism and horrific things for 7 years. That is a way of focusing on the gratitude of Reddit.
I made a bad mistake though, and I like changed from my curated happy list of Reddit to just like fire hose of what Reddit thinks it wants me to see, which is in Reddit parlance. I started browsing r all. Oh God, he's gonna kill me. But no, the great thing about Reddit is you can tune your own communities. Like the local ones are pretty good. Our Baltimore is great. It's generally 50% posts about squeegee boys and girls, but sometimes it's nice stuff like pictures of the pagoda. And if you browse our Maryland, it's just completely pictures of deserted beaches. Well, it was last week. Now that's over. But no, you can pick your
Beaches
community.
that should be deserted.
Like if you want to just see pictures that are burnt into toast, you can do that.
So I'd like to suggest this week, Hachi reads the Baltimore Sun, Michael reads Reddit. Let's talk.
Great idea.
Yeah, maybe I'll come in with a report next week on the internet for all of you. Oh.
That's a good segue
seems
into this. We can read that article about how because it's Baltimore and we deserve everything that happens to us, and Baltimore deserves us, and we deserve Baltimore. You may have heard that your ballots are somewhere to the west of the Blue Ridge Mountains, maybe crossing the Blue Ridge Mountains. I don't know. Half my house got their ballots. I didn't get my ballots. That's because the vendor just didn't ship them. They said they did. They said they did like 4 times, and then today they said, "Oh yeah, we didn't ship those. No, we didn't mail those." So your ballots are on the way.
Pay attention to your ballots, people. Use them. It's one of the last powers we have.
If we ever get them.
All
I
right.
mean, I'm personally fully ready for another Sheila Dixon.
I didn't realize that it is almost 9 p.m. We should probably wrap this shit up. Thank you for indulging us, everyone. I have a question for the people behind the camera, which is, Should we play
Aren't we in front of the camera
video
right now?
out?
I'm on the camera. And
Oh,
also,
you're on the
and
camera.
also controlled it.
Should we play one video out, or do we want to play one video now and then?
Well, actually, I just got this sent. My fourth hand, which is using the other computer. I was very lucky to receive this video moments ago. It's an exclusive interview. It delved a little bit deeper than our interviewers did, which y'all.
I'm so afraid.
You need to delve a little deeper next time. But so we're gonna check this out, and then we'll probably leave.
Letting a wild card be in charge of your tech,
probably
people.
gonna leave.
Yeah, play your thing, Hachi, and then we'll say goodbye after.
It's Entertainment Skyline. Tonight, we have an exclusive interview with a synth rock trio from Baltimore that formed during the worst year in world history, 2020. It's none other than LHL, Landis Harry Larry. We catch up with them in their studio ranch where they shed some light on rumors about Harry and Larry and their solo project. Coming up next, it's LHL on Entertainment Skyline. We saw Larry and Harry just finishing up on a...
What a day, I tell you. What a day. Don't even get me started, Larry.
We were joined by Landis Expanded, so we asked him about the wig he was wearing.
This is my actual real hair. I bought it myself.
Would you introduce us to the band?
Yes, I'm Landis. This is Harry. And back there's Larry. This is our studio. Welcome. Welcome, Entertainment Skyline.
Entertainment Skyline heard through the grapevine that the three of you, back when you were producers, were kicked out of the 2019 Grammys. Can you tell me how something like this can happen?
Mostly because we weren't invited. We snuck in. There's usually not a club that we can't sneak into. We've been sneaking into clubs since we were 12. Yeah. Yeah, we can. Larry knows how to sneak in pretty much we can anything. We've been sneaking in any. We could sneak in any show, right? Yeah.
Is there any truth to the rumor that Harry and Larry will be going off on their own next year with a record deal?
They're not going off on their own. Those are just because Harry and Larry do a video by themselves. That doesn't mean they're going off on their own. We're all in this together. There's no breaking us up. There's nothing's going to break us up. We share the same DNA. We're copies of each other. I'm their clone as much as they are my clones. We're each other's clones. There's no breaking us up. I can't see them signing something.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you were able to clone yourself so quickly?
I'm not allowed to talk about how that came about. I had to sign certain documents swearing the whole project to secrecy. So, yeah, it's not legal in the States. There's been some. Well, I can't talk about the cloning part.
Landis, Harry, and Larry spend every day in the studio on their ranch. We asked them what the future looked like for LHL.
Yeah, we might appear somewhere live on a stage in Baltimore at some point. Things are up in the air. Anything's possible at this point. I mean, absolutely anything's possible at this point. It's a crazy, crazy universe. We're in bizarro world right now.
Indeed, a bizarre trio for a bizarro world. Landis, Harry, and Larry can be seen on YouTube on the Landis Expandis channel. As for the future of LHL, I guess we'll all just have to hunker down, wait, and see.
That was a video by Landis Expandis, everybody.
Yeah, folks.
Oh, that's so funny. I really like how he creates his own content, and then when there's perhaps more necessity for reporting on the content, he creates that too. It's pretty awesome.
It's a crazy self-referential world that we're all living in. We were speculating that he may be sort of not talking to his children so he can go in a studio and create that kind of thing.
Landis is awesome. Anyway, thank you so much to Randi, Gayle Davis, Scott Dance, Hachi, and Abby, who are behind the camera / sometimes in front of it. Thank you to all of you for watching. As we said, or hinted at, Sunday evening, we are likely to do a special show, maybe around 10 p.m.
What?
Where basically we're going to give ourselves the opportunity to test out some of the technology and some of the ideas that we have. And those of you who are diehard, like, Mobtown Live fans, for the past 3 weeks or whatever.
It's going to be the exact same number of people. They're all just...
Yeah, we'll have 5 people watching. It'll be cool. We're going to try things out, get your opinion,
Yeah,
and just goof
I
around.
think one of the things we've been toying around is instead of making one at a time, we're going to make pitcher fills of Negronis at once.
Exactly, yeah.
Really radical stuff.
I'm going to try my hand at alcohol poisoning in front of all of you. That's not true. But yeah, do you have anything to add, Michael?
No, just thank you all for watching, and we're going to cut to credits soon, and then there might be a little treat.
A little thing to play out. Thank you all. Hope you stay safe and have a lovely week. No, you...
We're gonna get banned, and I don't fucking care. It's such a good song.
Cats in the way, cats in the way. When I'm online, when I'm on the phone, you're wondering why I'm always home. Cats in the way, cats in the way. I'm walking around the house. What can I say? I open a door and you're in my way. You follow me to the couch. You beat me there. You long for my touch. Cats in the way. Cats in the way. When I'm online, when I'm on the phone, you're wondering why I'm always home. Cats in the way. Cats in the way. I'm walking around the house. What can I say? I open a door and you're in my way. You follow me to the couch. You beat me there. You long for my touch. I love you so much. You're what I deserve. You're on my last nerve. you're such a good friend. Cats in the way, cats in the way. When I'm online, when I'm on the phone, you're wondering why I'm always home. Cats in the way, cats in the way. Everything's fine when I'm all alone. You're wondering why I'm always home. Cats in the way, cats in the way, cats in the way.